So, Caitlin Clark is, let's be completely real, like, when people are talking about these CBA negotiations and everyone's saying the most important players are the people that are on the committee, let's be completely real. The most important player in CBA negotiations is Caitlin Clark. The second most important player in CBA negotiations is not necessarily Caitlin Clark, or say obviously not Caitlin Clark, it's Angel Reese. The third most important player, Sabrina Ionescu. The fourth most important player, AJ Wilson. Fifth most important player, Paige Beckers. And maybe if you want to put Paige Beckers at third, fair enough.
She didn't just suggest it. Caitlin Clark, easily the most influential player tied to the WNBA CBA talks, spoke about the 2026 season like it was already locked in. Not a maybe, not a we'll see, but something she fully expects to happen. That calm confidence, later echoed by another major star, sends a very clear signal. The WNBA isn't disappearing. This isn't optimism for optimism's sake. It's intentional. It's strategic. And it directly pushes back against all the noise about a possible strike. The ripple effects are massive for players, fans, and the long-term direction of the league. When the league's biggest names speak, their voices carry more weight than any closed-door meeting. And that confidence spreads fast.
Gosh, Caitlin Clark saying this, and obviously Angel Reese during the week was talking about her biggest goals, and she was talking about playing in the playoffs. So you got the two most important players in league negotiations, talking as if it's a guarantee that it happens. They're talking as if it's a guarantee, and that's one of those things that I don't think people really are like taking into account, is that it really does matter when you've got these players talking like it's completely guaranteed. Talking like...
Oh, and she wasn't the only one. Angel Reese, a powerhouse in her own right and arguably the second most important voice in these negotiations, talked openly about her long-term goals, including pushing for playoff success in the coming seasons. That matters more than people realize. When the two players who drive ratings, sponsorships, and national attention talk about the future like it's already settled, they're doing more than sharing goals. They're shutting down panic. They're calming fans. And they're sending a loud message to everyone invested in the league that this thing is moving forward. That kind of alignment doesn't happen by accident.
Destroying the sport that you made a career on. Like, if the WNBPA, if the PA calls a strike, and people are like, oh, 97% of the players voted voted for a strike. No, they didn't. 97% of the players basically said they trust the CBA. They trust the CBA. Or say not trust CBA, they trust the PA. That if that they're okay to strike.
The importance of what Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese said can't really be overstated. In the middle of intense CBA negotiations, every word from top players gets dissected. And when stars like this, instead of committee reps, speak so casually about future seasons, it shifts the entire tone. It reframes the conversation. Their relaxed certainty is intentional, meant to project stability and keep momentum intact. This isn't empty talk. It's a calculated effort to make sure speculation doesn't derail the progress the league has built. They know exactly how powerful their platforms are, and they're using them to protect the league's future.
Voted for a strike. No, they didn't. 97% of the players basically said they trust the CBA. They trust the CBA. Or say not trust CBA, they trust the PA. That if that they're okay to strike if nothing happens. That they're okay with the strike as a last resort. And if nothing else, that vote is just in solidarity. Like, the reality is that even if it was 60%, it would make absolutely no difference. But the players also know that if half the league, if it ended up being 60% voting, that the league would just, the players...
While official CBA committee members handled the technical negotiations, the real leverage often belongs to the players people tune in to see. Caitlin Clark isn't just another athlete. She's become a cultural force and a brand on her own. Even without sitting in negotiation rooms, her public comments carry more influence than endless meetings ever could. She speaks directly to fans, sponsors, and investors. Alongside Reese, she's effectively confirming the league's future from the court instead of the boardroom. It's a shift in how power works in modern sports.
Aren't necessarily taking into account how important it is, the likes of a Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese talking as if it's a guarantee, how important that is. Because at the end of the day, these are players that Nike, Reebok, these big brands are kind of like, Nike are putting a lot of stock in Caitlin Clark. Like, there's a lot going into Caitlin Clark. I think this Team USA camp, and imagine if Team USA fuck about and don't pick Caitlin Clark. Nike on the spot would probably just drop them. The rumor is, again, this is...
And there's also a lot of misunderstanding around the recent strike authorization vote. Many people saw the 97% figure and assumed players were ready to shut everything down and sacrifice the 2026 season. That's not what it means. The vote was about unity and trust in the Players Association. It says players are willing to strike if they absolutely have to, not that they want to. It's leverage, not desire. A show of strength, not a plan to tear down the league they've spent years building.
Online rumor I'm seeing on Twitter. This doesn't mean anything, but the rumor is that the Caitlin Clark shoe is going to be revealed during a Super Bowl commercial. That is what the rumor is. That is going to be revealed during the Super Bowl, which is what, like, I'm just trying to think when it comes down to it. When is the Super Bowl? It's start of February. It's always going to be the start of February anyway. It was the 10th of February last year, I think. It was 10th of February. Either way, though, look, at the end of the day, this is
unity is critical. The possibility of a strike, even if it never happens, is the strongest tool. Players have to push for better pay and working conditions. Without that near unanimous vote, the Players Association would be negotiating from a much weaker position. The players understand this, especially with projections of massive pay increases being discussed. They know they have to stay completely aligned. This isn't about ending the WNBA. It's about making it better and fairer for the people driving its success.
They are all going to be a lead-in to what is going to be the biggest WNBA season ever, because the assumption is like that the season is going to happen. The Caitlin Clark is going to be healthy. The Paige Becker is going to be even better. The Age is going to continue her dominance. The Fee is going to be healthy coming into the season. That Angel Reese is going to have the most competent team around her that she's had in her career. And by the way, so many people were like, oh, and rival play means nothing. And I was like, oh yeah, winning and losing means nothing. But I'm like, stats mean nothing. But I'm like,
on player power, there's an even bigger force in the background, Nike. As one of the WNBA's most influential partners, their financial stake is enormous. Nike has invested heavily in Caitlin Clark, and a canceled season would hurt them directly. That commitment acts as a stabilizer. Nike isn't just a sponsor here. They're a business partner with every incentive to make sure the league continues to grow. Their influence quietly pushes all sides toward a resolution.
That is really important because it's transferable. People are like, oh, but like Angel Reese killed it in Arrival. I'm like, outside the first 4 games of the season, Angel Reese played like an all WNBA team player. Like, do people not realize that? Angel Reese was unbelievable last season. There was a chunk in the middle of the season where she was averaging something like 17 points, 15 rebounds, and 6 assists. And the Chicago Sky, it was a 10-game spell, and the Chicago Sky were 5-5. And I understand it's a small sample size, but like, still, like it's one of those things where genuinely, like Angel was very, very good last year. But yeah, it is.
And the scale of Nike's commitment becomes even clearer. With a rumored bombshell, Caitlin Clark's signature shoe is reportedly set to debut in a Super Bowl commercial. Let that sink in. The Super Bowl, that's not just marketing. That's a statement. A massive financial bet that only makes sense if the league's future is secure. Nike wouldn't do that if there was serious doubt about the WNBA's stability. Their leverage even stretches into Team USA territory. If Clark were somehow left off an Olympic roster, rumors suggest Nike would pull its support entirely. That shows how valuable she is and how tightly the brand is tied to her success. Every major basketball entity is incentivized to keep her front and center. Compare that to newer leagues like Unrivaled. Some players have suggested they could play there year-round instead of the WNBA. But the numbers tell a different story. Many Unrivaled games struggle to draw even 1,000 viewers. That gap shows just how irreplaceable the WNBA platform really is. Even with stars involved, alternative leagues can't match the exposure, money, or infrastructure. That's why the idea of players abandoning the WNBA en masse doesn't hold up. Even when a player like Paige Bueckers appears, viewership spikes briefly but still struggles overall. That contrast highlights what the WNBA already has: history, audience, media reach, and cultural relevance. Elite talent needs the right stage, and the WNBA provides it better than anyone else. This isn't just about basketball. It's about identity and legacy. The WNBA is the centerpiece of women's professional basketball worldwide. Players, agents, and sponsors all know it. The stakes are simply too high for it to disappear. Looking ahead, excitement for the next season is already building. People expect Caitlin Clark to be healthy, Paige Bueckers to return stronger, and A'ja Wilson to continue dominating. Players like Aaliyah Boston are expected to take another leap. That level of star power makes a league stoppage almost unthinkable. Angel Reese's recent performance only adds fuel to that excitement. After a slow start last season, she went on a dominant run, averaging roughly 17 points, 15 rebounds, and 6 assists over a 10-game stretch. That glimpse of her ceiling suggests even bigger things ahead, especially with better support around her. Rivalries, storylines, and star battles are exactly what the league thrives on. When Clark and Reese speak so confidently about the future, they're doing more than talking. They're stabilizing the moment. Panic helps no one during negotiations. Certainty helps everyone. Their words calm fans, reassure investors, and keep the focus where it belongs, reaching a fair deal. There's also legacy to consider. No player wants to be remembered as part of leadership that oversaw the collapse of the league. That gave them everything. The strike vote is leverage, not intent. Protecting and growing the game matters more than any short-term pressure tactic. Their confidence isn't just for fans. It's for broadcasters, sponsors, and future investors. The WNBA is experiencing unprecedented growth, and disruption would threaten that momentum. By projecting stability, they help secure long-term deals and expansion opportunities. At the end of the day, the public statements from the league's biggest stars, combined with the financial realities behind the scenes, point to one truth: everyone involved has too much to lose if a deal isn't reached. The WNBA is too valuable, too visible, and too full of talent to stall now. This moment isn't about avoiding disaster. It's about laying the foundation for something bigger. With its brightest stars openly affirming the future and major partners doubling down, the league is positioned for a historic rise. So when Caitlin Clark speaks, people listen. When she and Angel Reese casually talk about future seasons, it's not hope. It's a declaration. The WNBA isn't just continuing. It's entering its most powerful era yet. The league is here to stay, stronger than ever, ready to deliver on everything it's been building toward. The future of women's basketball is already in motion.